Okay guys, it's Stephanie and we are in the third part of the video on the third part of the series of spiritual gifts, and we are talking about claircognizance. And in the third part of this series, in the third part of this part of the series, I'm going to tell you or give you an exercise or two on developing your claircognizance, or even knowing what it feels like for you to be claircognizant, right? So it's really simple. I talked about it in the last video. I talked about how I knew I was claircognizant and what it's like to be claircognizant. If you haven't watched that, go watch that because it's going to help you with this part. So a really, really easy exercise for claircognizant, number one, to realize what it feels like for you, like to get to know when you have that sense of knowing, but then also to develop it more. First off, practicing any of this is the trick to developing. Really doing it, the more you do it, the better it gets, the more you recognize it. These things are here, and most of the time we aren't present enough to recognize it, understand it, right? And then also most of the time when people are channeling, some people want to call it inspiration. They want to call it all sorts of things. It's all channeling. When we are channeling, it's coming from a place of just knowing for most people. Some people hear and repeat. For me personally, it just drops in and I say it, right? So a great practice is in your everyday life. When you're having conversations, when a person starts talking, you're listening to them. Ask yourself, like, you start paying attention. Do you know where this story is going? When you watch a movie or a television show, within the first 5 minutes, can you tell what's going to happen by the end of the show? It's funny because Girls Trip came out last year and everybody was like, oh, Girls Trip, Girls Trip. So I was late watching it. I watched it when it came out on DVD. I probably watched it a few weeks ago, and I was talking to a friend the other day and I was like, I wasn't really that impressed. Like, it was cool. It was a good movie. The actors was good, yada, yada, yada. But I was like, I don't know. I knew what was going to happen in the first 5 minutes. So I was like, by the time they made it to the airport, I was like, all right, I know where this is going. Her husband is cheating on her. Like, I could see and put all the pieces together. So it wasn't that fun for me just because I knew. And I want you to ask yourself, do you ever sit down for television shows or movies, Netflix, any of those things? And within the first few minutes, you instantly know what's going to happen, right? You have no reason to know. All right. Catch yourself having these conversations with friends and associates and clients and customers, and ask yourself, like, I want you to do a practice mentally. Do I know what they're about to say? Think what you think they're about to say. Don't you say it and just wait. Allow the conversation to progress. Allow the movie to progress and see if it actually ends up the way you think. And the more you do this, the more you'll notice that you've always had this sense of knowing. The more you do this, the more it will become apparent to you. It's like once I opened my eyes that these were things, they happened even more. The sense of knowing, it's just always been there. I think the beautiful thing is kind of being a little bit of egotistic. Like, sometimes, like, the ego can be bad, but the ego can be good. The beautiful thing about it is thinking that I know everything. I always look to have the answers. I had an expectation of having an answer, right? And so that was the beautiful thing. And so that's something that I didn't need to develop at all, because I had been an ego for so many years and thinking I just had all the answers. I looked to have the answers. But if you haven't been there, now start looking to have the answers. I can bet you might just have them.